Hello and welcome back to the second part of this Spanish video series. In the last one, in the first part, I left you in beautiful Nerja, and now it was time to head off towards Benalmádena. On the way, we decided to stop at this little place in Torremolinos, and it was just a small, rough parking area, €2 a night, and we just had one night here before heading off to Benalmádena. But while we were here, I had a walk right down the front and into the town centre. We were parked on the northern part of Torremolinos, and I prefer it up here. It's really nice, really beautiful. I had a walk down, as I said, into the town centre, and there was some absolutely beautiful beach bars that I took quite a few photographs of, and some lovely areas, little parks, etc. down the front. But one of these beach bars somehow reminded me of Donald Trump. I don't know if you can pick out which one that is. But yeah, it was a nice place, and I would go back there. While I was walking down the front, I came across this contraption, my first ever advertising robot.
It's Good Friday, and we've come out for the Easter procession in Benalmádena. And we've managed to grab this table and have a cheeky beer as we're waiting for the procession to start. And there's loads of people all lining the streets, and everybody's got dressed up except me. That's fine. So we're just waiting for the procession to come past. Don't know what to expect, but I presume it'll be good. So we'll see what happens.
The last time I was in Benalmádena was back in May 2023, and back then I was with Ellie, my little spaniel, and it just turned out that it was her birthday that month. And so we sat in the Parc de Paloma. I'd taken a card with me for her, and I sat there and read it to her in the park. To my beautiful Ellie, happy birthday, sweetheart. I hope we have a lovely day, and I love you more than words can say. From Daddy. Happy. So whilst we were here for the second time, I decided to look for the little place in the park where I'd read out Ellie's card to her 2 years earlier. And I think we found it, and it was just here. And just as I did when I was with Ellie 2 years earlier, I took Rio out on a boat trip dolphin spotting. But unfortunately we didn't see any dolphins this time, like we did last time. There was plenty. But we got half price revisiting tickets for next time. So being a Yorkshireman, I've saved it. When we first arrived in Benalmádena, we were joined by John and Denise. They were friends of Paul and Carol's, and they drove all the way down from Saint Malo on the north coast of France down to Benalmádena in 3 days in their green Heimer. and being with these four crazy lovely people, we weren't short of laughs. So now it was time for me to head off. I'd got different plans to the others, and we would meet up again shortly, but I was going to a place that I'd been to before 2 years ago called Garaffi Desert, and I just love it here. The scenery is so spectacular. I just wanted to visit it once more. Here we are in the Garaffi Desert. We've had 2 nights here, and the first night we were camped, or parked should I say, on the top of the hill. Incredible views, absolutely spectacular. I'll put a picture up of where that was. I've been here before 2 years ago, and I made a video all about it on my YouTube channel called Europe's Grand Canyon, and that's exactly what it's like here. I don't know if you can see that vista behind me. It's just incredible. There's fantastic wildlife here as well, and I'll put some pictures and a couple of videos on and let you have a look at what we've been up to this time. Well, we left Garaffi yesterday and we arrived here just round the corner, so to speak, just north of Baza, and it's a place I saw some other YouTubers go to, and I'm just shocked how beautiful it is here. It's north of Baza, and it's where the thermal baths are. They're just down there beside the restaurant. Not is it just a beautiful place, I mean the baths themselves are fantastic. The water's about 38-40 degrees, coated in mud at the bottom so you can get all mudded up if you like. I got a bit mudded up, which was good fun, even though Rio didn't recognise me. But the wildlife, it's just teeming with wildlife here. I was watching a golden eagle yesterday, and also a booted eagle. There's black kites and all sorts of little birds flying about. And one of the best things about this place is it's totally free in true Spanish style. It's not been bought by somebody and turned into a tourist attraction. Being charged 15 quid to get in, everything's free, and the dogs can go in the water. I mean, Rio has had an absolutely wonderful time here. She's loved it. She's loved swimming. We've spent a good hour or so just splashing about in the water, playing. It's been wonderful. And I managed to stay here last night. We parked up here between the trees, and it was a decent night's sleep, very quiet. And we've been back in the water again this morning and had a walk along the lake, and it is absolutely glorious here. It's beautiful, really is. And hopefully I can come back next year, because I'd like to see this place again. I've had such a great time, so I do recommend it. I put the drone up, and I'll put that footage on for you now. From here we moved on and decided to do something completely different and out of the ordinary. On Park for Night I'd seen this campsite that was part of a small dropout community in the mountains near the Andalusian border, and it was also in the middle of a nature park, which really appealed to me, and so I thought we'd give it a go. Getting there, it was a bit dodgy down a long rough track, but well worth it when we arrived. And this is the type of countryside we were parked up in. Absolute beautiful vistas of mountains and hills, and we were parked on this wildflower meadow with fruit trees all around, and once again the wildlife was pretty spectacular. I got these photographs of my first ever woodchat shrike. I'd never seen one before. I didn't even know what it was when I was taking pictures of it, but there's also corn buntings, spotted flycatchers and a few other bits and pieces. But the biggest surprise was, and Rio showed me something that she knew that I didn't know she could do, and that was find and point tortoises. And as we were walking round the hills, after we'd been going half an hour, she came on point up the hillside, and I went over to have a look what she was pointing at, and lo and behold, she was pointing at this tortoise hidden under this bush. Now, I would never have known that they were there if she hadn't have found them. And the further we went on, she kept finding more and more, and there were small ones and bigger ones. And she did try to get hold of them to start with, but they just slipped out of her mouth, and none were harmed. And after that, I just put her on the lead and kept to the track. But what a fantastic surprise. I didn't even know they were there in this area. So after having 2 nights here, we set off down to the coast of the Carolina Beaches to meet up with my friends. And just after we got off the track onto the main road, I saw these absolutely beautiful bee eaters sat there, and got my camera out and took some lovely pictures. So we had a few more days here, and then I had to say goodbye to these 4 lovely people. Their ferry was booked 3 or 4 weeks before mine, and so they had to get off. But I hung around for another 3 or 4 days before slowly heading north myself. So it's been a few weeks since we were at the thermal baths down near Grenada, and as you can see today the weather is not so great. It's the first time I've seen rain for weeks and weeks, but you know, I've just got to get the clothes on and get out anyway. With scenery like this behind me, you can't you know, you can't not. But since the thermal baths, we had another few nights on the Los Olivos campsite, which was nice. Then we went to La Manga for a couple of nights on the beach again, and then Torrevieja for a night, Guadamar for a night, and then went up to Benidorm. And I stayed at the Poniente end. There's two little campsites down there, and the cheaper one of the two was only €13 a night. And I decided to stay there because I'd never really explored that area of Benidorm before, the quieter end, and it was really nice. I enjoyed it there for a couple of days, couple of nights, and then I moved up to the north end and stayed in a little car park that I know. And my brother and sister-in-law were there, they're touring in their camper van, and so we had a nice walk together, a couple of nice nights out in the bars and that was nice. So yesterday we went to, well, the day before yesterday we went to Guadalest. I've been recommended this place by quite a few people and never been, so I decided to go, and what an absolutely beautiful place that is. I just can't describe it. The lake, the water in the lake is just absolutely unbelievably blue. Never seen anything like it, and how the buildings and the structures cling to the rock. It's just incredible. I put the drone up there, and I'll put some pictures and a little video on after this clip. But at the moment I'm at the place where I was last year at this time, and it's where all the hill fires are. It's a place called Tarbena, and I don't think there are many fires today because it's absolutely throwing it down. But we've done a walk into the hills. This was one of the best walks I did last year, and I was been looking forward to doing it again. And with views like this, I'll just turn you around if I can. You can probably understand why, and it's just stunning place. It's the mountains, and we're just a few miles inland from Benidorm. It's hard to believe, it's such a contrast. But yeah, we're just going to have a night, well, we had last night here, we're going to stay here again tonight and then move on. But I'll put some video footage on of Guadalest now.
So we're going to leave that one here, and if you've watched to the end, thank you so much. There will be a third and final part when I get round to editing it. And so we'll see you then. Thanks, bye.